Welcome to Consciously Inspired Minds, where we ditch the default and live life by design. I'm your host, Brandy White, personal growth enthusiast, entrepreneur, and lifestyle coach. I host conversations with creators, entrepreneurs, healers, and educators committed to living a life of truth, intention, and connection. Understanding how to discover their inner vision to design their outer world. Our guests take us on a journey of what it means to embody a life of conscious inspiration, joy, impact, and service. Get ready to be inspired. Welcome to Consciously Inspired Minds. Welcome back, everybody. Happy you're here. I have a really fun guest today. Her name is Courtney Stylski, and she and her husband are making so much impact in our local community. And I was really excited to have her on today to talk about her journey and all the amazing things that she and her family are doing. So, Courtney, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Of course, of course. All right. So today, what Courtney and I are going to be talking about, and really we're going to spend a lot of time here, is all about why it's never too late to try new things. And so I think that you all are going to be really inspired by Courtney's story. And we're just going to have a lot of fun, just relax and have some good girl time. And yeah, so with that, I want to go ahead and introduce you to Courtney. So Courtney is a wife and mom of 4 beautiful children. She and her husband own evofit, where Courtney trains a few classes a week. She and her husband are also part owners of a new restaurant opening next month, which is really exciting, called MaineTowne. And she's worked at a local family-owned company for the last 23 years doing accounting and charity work. In her spare time, she plays a lot of pickleball, which is her newfound passion the last couple of years. So, Courtney, welcome to the show again. It's lovely to meet you. And just for the listeners, so I know Mike, Courtney's husband, and so that's how Courtney and I got connected. And I was really excited to have her on and share all the things that her family is involved in the community. And so, yeah, it's just, I'm excited to get to know more about you and your family and the community that you're really building. And I'm anxious to support all the things that you all are doing and obviously what you're passionate about through fitness and food and really service. So where I'd like to start, Courtney, is a little bit about your childhood. Yeah. And so what was little Courtney like, and how did that impact who you are and where you are today?
Okay. Well, thank you. I am originally from Cleveland, the east side of Cleveland. I grew up in a very similar area to where we live right now in Maineville, in especially Landon area, just down the road. We owned a home in Woodfield, but we still own a home there for 14 years. And I grew up in a neighborhood almost exactly like that, with the neighborhood pool and the swim team and just a lot of kids running around back in the 80s. So always a super fun time. I went to a private school growing up and then a Catholic high school, and then went on to get my bachelor's degree in accounting at University of Dayton. And that's where I met Mike. And then got a job down here in Cincinnati and with it a public accounting firm, Price Waterhouse. And now that's it. We've been in Cincinnati ever since.
Wow. So I didn't know that you all went to UD together, University of Dayton.
Yes.
I feel like I'm going to learn so many new things today. And I feel like as women, we're just more willing to sort of open up and talk about life. So for the listeners, Mike owns a property in our local town of Maineville, and I rent office space there for my business, which is how I got to know Mike. And so Mike and I know a little bit about the family, all of that, and his business ventures and Courtney's business ventures, but we're just sort of in passing frequently. And so I am really just excited to sit here with you, Courtney, today and get to know more about all the amazing things that you guys are doing, but not only that, just learn more about your family because you guys are doing so much. And I just got such great vibes from Mike, and it's just really authentic. And as they say, it's like behind every man is a great woman. So I'm like, okay, I've gotta spend time with her and get to know more about you all. So this is going to be really great.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we are currently living our dream because both of us are very like small town, small community people. He grew up in a suburb of Cleveland as well, on the west side. We didn't know each other back then, but both nice towns in Cleveland, but both small, nice communities where kind of, a lot of people, everybody knows everybody. And I just have always loved that feel, like being down in a little mini downtown and kind of got all your different businesses and all the people. We feel like that is being created here in Maineville, especially, we kind of have that at Evo with just the community that we have there. And hopefully it'll keep, transitioning on with the restaurant and the other properties that we have here with the small businesses. So we're both from that kind of area, and we both are enjoying kind of creating that here in Maineville.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. And Maineville, just to give folks a little bit more context, is the population of the village of Maineville, which is where we are and where my business is and you all live and own business, is 1,400 people in the village of Maineville. And so it's got that grassroots feel, but there's some really exciting things happening there. I mean, we're bringing in more business. You all are opening a restaurant, and it's really just growing, expanding, up-leveling. I actually just participated in the local Maineville Chamber of Commerce event this week, and I met so many amazing people through the chamber. So I'm excited to support that more and do what I can to build awareness there, and how we can, as business owners, get more connected and even band together in the community and make even more impact and excitement and bring more opportunity to our communities, our schools, our families, etc.
Yeah, I think it's so important. And I think the chamber is amazing. All of what's making everything successful is that everybody's on the same page. Everybody has a common goal of just creating a nice place to live and a nice place to do small businesses, and to just try to support and have everything be thriving for the community. And when you have, your leaders on the same page, it's just, it really means everything. So we're really thankful for them.
Yeah, amazing. I'm excited to learn more about the leadership in the community and how I can help. So that's what it's all about. So Courtney, tell us a little bit about evofit and how that started, because is that where things started to, where this entrepreneurial journey started for you all?
Kind of. I mean, Mike already he just is an entrepreneur in general.
Okay.
He's a yes guy. So if anybody offers him an opportunity, he's like, sure, yeah.
I see that in him.
Yeah, I think that's how he got into real estate 25 years ago. We were buying a house and we were using a realtor, and they just hit it off. And the realtor offered Mike to go to school. He would pay for him to go to school if he would be a buyer's agent for him. Mike's like, sure. I mean, Mike had another career and job already, and just took that on too. And then the rest is history. He's been a realtor for the last 25 years. So he's just always kind of had that, but he's a college athlete, and he's always had a passion for working out and for training youth athletes. So we have 3 sons that were all athletes and all big into sports. And probably about 15 years ago now, Mike and another friend of his, he was actually in the NFL, decided they wanted to do some youth training. So for free, they just would do speed and agility training for our kids and some of their friends at Landon Park. So they would meet there on Friday evenings and do an hour of speed training and start off with, maybe a handful of kids. And they did that for 2 or 3 summers. And the 3rd summer, they moved it to King Stadium, still for free, just offer come on Friday night. And I think they had like 50 kids there on a Friday, throughout the summer. So it just began to really grow, and Mike loved it. And so at that time, he decided, I love real estate. It's great as a profession, but I need something to fuel my passion. And he really wanted to start a facility for youth athletes. So that's how Evo started, really, with youth athletes. We were at a different location on the corner of 22 and 3 and 3C Highway in a warehouse. It's about half the size of our current building now. Very rough. It was actually a motorcycle chop shop when we took it over.
Wow. Wow.
But that's actually was the charm of it. And that's what everybody loved about it, was just come as you are. The kids loved it because they loved to kick soccer balls and lacrosse, like anything around. You could not wreck the space. It was just
it's like rumble tumble time. And
it was just a rough, but it was, we had dodgeball tournaments in there. We had New Year's Eve party. We just had a blast. So and it was really more for the kids. And then we would start these adult classes when, the kids had their class. We're like, we'll do boot camp for the adults. So we kind of started it that way. And then we were there for, I guess like 9 or 10 years. And then during COVID, we ended up being able to purchase the old Hamilton Township Firehouse, which is our current location here in downtown Maineville. So we doubled our space and just really started focusing probably equally at that point on the kids and the adults. So we had more space because in the other place, we really only had 2 rooms. So now we have more space. We can do yoga and bar and all the things that we really wanted to do at the time and just didn't have the space for. So now our facility is more of a wellness place. So we have all kinds of things going on here. We have physical therapists on site. We have massage therapists on site. We have Kyle who does body work. We do recovery. We have some local made organic items that we sell in the marketplace. We do all kinds of things here, personal training, group training. And it's just something really for everyone now. So it's kind of just evolved into this really cool community. The other thing that's changed a little bit is when we were at our other location, we were really in the Kings area. Once we moved here, it was really kind of right between Little Miami and Kings. And we got a ton of Little Miami people who started to come over here, which was awesome. So it's a lot of fun now because it was always fun, but it's just nice to have really the Maineville community, which really is equally Little Miami and Kings people. Plus we have Loveland because it's right down the street. So it's a really nice location and to bring in so many more people in the community into this facility. Plus we have the space for it. So it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And the facility is incredible.
Thank
when
you.
I got a tour of your facility, it just felt like it kept going on and on and on.
People are like, I didn't even know it had an upstairs. I'm like, it has an upstairs.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The biggest question we got when we moved in here is, where's the fire pole? Is there a fire pole in here? Because and actually, I asked that too when we first looked at it. And no, sadly, there is not. But we would have worked that into our workouts if there was one. But no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. So what are the classes that you all offer?
So we have personal training, small group training, yoga, bar, group fitness. We have a whole CrossFit program now that's newer. It's in its 2nd year now. It's really growing. We have a wonderful 5 a.m. Rooster Crew group. I don't know how they do it.
The Rooster Crew. 6 a.m. is as early as I go.
Yeah, 6 a.m. it's CrossFit. They've got a really nice group. 5 a.m. it's the Rooster Crew, and they are thriving. They really have their own community all to themselves, but they deserve it because coming in here at 4:30 in the morning, I don't know how they do it, but they're amazing. So we have those guys. They just are awesome. But we have morning classes, we have a noon CrossFit, and then we have a lot of evening classes. And really each class has its own personality. They really do. And like we have a big event coming up in May, and we'll do these class baskets that we raffle off. And you can just see how everybody gets into it. It's almost like a competitive thing. So it's amongst the classes, but it's fun. And one of the great things about our gym is that you don't have to bring up a friend to the gym with you. You don't have, you already have friends. Once you've been in the class for like a week, you pretty much, the same people are in the class every day. So you get to know people. We do a lot of things outside of the gym. We do a lot of social things together, especially the people in the classes. I just think what it's evolved in is way more than what we originally could even have imagined that it would be. I think we've created a space for people to, heal at times, their mind and their bodies, and they're even emotional. People go through things, and I think it's nice to have an escape and have a group of supportive people around you who are somewhat, like-minded, at least in fitness. So I think it really is, like I said, it just has evolved into way more than just a gym. It's really a community. So we're really pleased with that.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And what's really impressive, what keeps coming up for me is how you all embraced the evolution of Evo. And so, because a lot of times I think we have these great ideas for things maybe that we want to do. And we're like, well, it's you hear this amazing story of we started here and then things just started to evolve and we started to succeed and things are happening now that we could have never even dreamt about. How did you all sort of embrace that journey, and not only embrace it, but trust yourselves enough that you were making the right choices to expand, grow, evolve along the way? What are some tips there?
I think, honestly, like I mentioned before, I think it's coming from a place of yes. When we have amazing trainers. We have a lot of people who are very invested in the gym just because they love the space and maybe they've been with us the whole time since the old gym. And if they suggest something or they're like, we are always like, yeah, let's do it. I mean, we just kind of always consider what anybody suggests for us. And I think it's brought us to a place where, even things that we wouldn't have thought about, someone else suggested and we were like, let's try it. We always try new things. Some things don't work out and sometimes they do. And I think that's just, people kept saying when we were in our old space, we need a second location. It's getting full here. We need to expand. We need to do different things. And we're like, yeah, but, it could change the dynamic of the small gym feel. And that just evolved over, that just was a natural evolution to change from that old space to here, because we just started running into some issues. The bathrooms were outdated. We wanted to update the bathrooms and we didn't own the space. So we had to work with the owners and it was just a whole thing. And then finally, we were already training the firefighters here at the firehouse. We were training them during the week. So Mike just was like, got an idea. And he's like, what are they doing with that building? Why don't we ask, So he asked somebody and they were like, oh, actually, like the proposals are due on Monday. And it was a Thursday or something. So we're like, oh. So we are like, well, we jumped on it and it was really lengthy. And, you had to tell what you're going to do for the community, all these things had to be voted on. And I think we were one of like 5 or 6 businesses that had turned it in. And I knew, I'm going to tell you, to be honest, as soon as I toured the space, and it was during COVID, so we weren't allowed to really come in. We could only see the downstairs like bay where the fire trucks were. And they did a video for us. So they, would walk us around on FaceTime, but we weren't able to really come in because it was during COVID. So, but as soon as I saw this, I knew it was for us. I'm like, I know we're getting this. So it was just like it actually makes me tear up, but it was just an amazing thing. And I just knew that it was going to happen. And it's perfect for us. So I'm glad it did.
It is. It just comes down to a knowing sometimes, doesn't it? Just like a deep inner knowing.
Yes.
And this idea about coming from a place of yes, when folks are coming from a place of yes, it's so magnetic. It's so magnetic to other people and it's hopeful. And I think that is why I was just so drawn to knowing more about you all, because you all are so magnetic.
Oh, thank you.
And what you all are doing. And I'm like, I have to understand how they have built this sort of this energy in the community and these folks coming in. When I toured the space that I'm now renting from right across the street or right next to MaineTowne, I met Mike at evofit, and it was our first snowy day of this year. And I'm like, what am I doing? It's 6 a.m. All the snow, our first big snow. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I get there and it felt such a lonely, dark drive on the way there. And then I get there and there's all of these people at evofit and like lights are on, people are going. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I felt like I just like stepped into a different world. Yeah. And I mean, people were just like ready for the day. It wasn't like, oh, it's snowing out, we can't commit, we're not going to work. No, it was like full on. And it was really encouraging. And I happened to see a friend of mine while I was there. It was just great.
Oh, that's great. Awesome.
So with that, coming from this place of yes, and that's when Mike started giving me the sort of all the details around what you all were doing and the properties you all were buying and how you were renovating and the small businesses you were bringing in. And I'm like, this meeting did not happen on accident.
Yeah.
Like, there is no way I'm here on accident.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just really grateful that you and I are having this conversation today. And that's why I was really excited to share your all's story and what you all are doing, because it's really special, Courtney, what you guys are doing.
Thank
it's really
you.
Special. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about MaineTowne, the restaurant that's opening, because I know you're a foodie and I'm really curious if this kind of plays into you guys opening the restaurant and partnering with some folks to open the restaurant. Tell me about that and what can we expect there?
Okay, for sure. I'm definitely a foodie. And just going back to my childhood, this is just a funny story that popped into my head. I found an old journal diary from back when I was like in 6th grade recently. And this is just like me with food. And all my friends know I eat a lot of food. I love to eat food. We go, I tell everybody like what we're all getting so that we can share the food so we can taste everything. But in this diary, I had written like all the drama, what was going on in 6th grade. And at the bottom of every entry was like dinner, meatloaf, dinner. Like I wrote down my dinner for whatever reason, because that's how like food just speaks to me and it's so important to me. And so that was something just like comical, like, well, because I've always been like this. So, but MaineTowne, we just need food in downtown Maineville. We need some food.
Who doesn't need food? Yeah.
We just need food. So Mike's always wanted to own a restaurant, a cafe or a restaurant or something. And we've just talked about it for a long time. Like, gosh, it would be so nice if somebody opened something in downtown Maineville. Like, it'd be nice if we had some, nice, healthy place, something where we can get healthy options or, I love going in the Monkey Bar. It's just like a fun community place. I'm like, we need something like that right here, right by the gym. Be so nice. So, once that opportunity actually arose where they were selling that building, we were like, we could, somebody could put a restaurant here. We'll buy the building. They could put a restaurant in there. And then somehow, because my husband does come from a place of, yes, we decided we were going to do the restaurant and we were going to put the restaurant in. So it's been quite a journey. It's so exciting. It's super cute inside. We are really like coming down to the wire of opening. I think our grand opening day is May 23rd. So don't quote me, but that's what's supposed to be happening.
No pressure.
Everything is in on time and we're ready to go. It should be that date. So, and we may have a couple of soft openings before that. So yes. And I think what you should expect is kind of the similar, hopefully, community feel like what we have going on in Evo, where it's just come through the door, see people, hey, it's, kind of casual, but nice food, like good food that you want to eat. We don't have our menu completely done yet. So I don't want to really speak on that because I don't want to get anybody's heart set on something and then we don't offer it. But
right.
Because I'd be one of those people that'd be devastated. But it's going to be a great menu. We have a great chef designing the menu. It's going to be all unique things, but things you recognize, things you want to eat, but come from, a healthier standpoint, but not overly healthy. There'll definitely be some fun food on the menu. We have a liquor license, so we'll have a full bar going on. The vibe is really cool.
The vibe is so cool.
It's so cool. I know. Every time I go in, I'm like, I'm so excited. Yeah. The outdoor space is going to be very fun. It's going to be a cool vibe too. And that's not just what we're hoping for. We're just hoping that Everybody really enjoys it. And it's kind of the hangout place in downtown Maineville. So everybody I talk to is like, there's a downtown Maineville. I'm like, yeah, the four-way stop. I mean, that's what's
Four-way stop. That's right.
Get to that four-way stop. So
I love the four-way stop.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
It's like we still all have to take turns. It's like,
yes. So
there's no roundabout yet or anything.
No, it's right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to have lunch and dinner options. So it'll be open for lunch and dinner. And then I know everybody is very concerned about parking because that's what everybody asks me all the time. Where's everybody going to park?
Okay.
And we do have some parking options. Obviously, we own the building that you're in right next door. So we'll have some parking in there. During the weekend nights, anybody can park at Evo. You know, we don't have things going on Friday and Saturday nights generally at Evo. So, you know, parking lot's right there. We have tons of spots in there. There's a few spots on the street. There's parking across the street behind Crimmers. There's a parking lot over there. So there'll be plenty of parking. But it is, I know people do stress about it a little bit. I don't think they realize we own that building next door. So that's our parking too. So, yeah.
Build some awareness there. That's great. Can you give folks a little bit of a visual on what the vibe is? I mean, I know it's kind of eclectic and fun. Those are the two words that come to mind. But what words would you use?
So basically, you know, when we kind of talked to, you know, the mayor and, you know, really started talking to the city officials and that of like, what kind, you know, what do we want? What do we want to bring to Maine? It was like, well, you know, Maineville was designed after Maine, basically the city, you know, the state of Maine.
Coming from the state of Maine, settling in Maineville in like 1850 is when And then there's even, Maineville even has its own flag, right?
It has
its own flag.
Yeah, I think it does have its own flag. Yeah,
it has its own flag.
And the building itself is historical. It's it was built in like the 1840s. It's been a few things.
Beautiful.
But one of the things there was actually, and I think it might be on the sign, or if you actually Google it and look it up, you'll see. There was the folding chair, which was called the funeral chair, which is a folding chair, was actually developed in that house. So we may or may not have some folding chairs floating around in there on the walls and stuff. So, but our designer called it like a modern Montana vibe. So it's a lot of modern feels to it, but also, you know, some kind of Maine, you know, vibe to it too. So it's just, it's a little trendy. The downstairs is a really, you know, fun bar atmosphere. And then upstairs will be more of the seating and, you know, where you can eat. There's a few tables downstairs that you can eat at, but most of the seating is upstairs. There's some funky wallpaper and some funky rooms. Every room has kind of a different theme upstairs. So that's kind of fun. So yeah, it's definitely a vibe. I'll just leave it at that. It's going to be a vibe, but it's, you know, we've got picnic tables out front. We've got a nice little patio area out back. There's some seating upstairs on the balcony up the top floor. So that's kind of fun. So yeah, it's a cool building. Not huge. It's not big, but it's going to be a quaint, fun place to be.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. I'm excited for you guys. It's really, really exciting. Okay, let's transition to, I know you and I were talking before we started to record, and we're talking about raising families and carpooling to sports, and life is just happening, right? Yes. Every day. It's just, there's not a lack of things to do. So yeah. I've got two daughters. Bryn is 11 and Elle is 8. And I can tell you, my husband and I are on the go every single day with sports. We have to sit down. We talk about our week. We talk about our day. Where's everybody going to be? What are we doing? And you have 4 children. So yeah, so double that. I'm like, wow. And naturally, we can just sort of get lost in that. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. We want to do it. We want to be there for our kids and our families. For sure, and there's so many exciting things happening, right? But sometimes there's those moments where we take a pause and think about, what am I doing for me? Yeah. And it sounds like you had one of those moments. Can you take us back to, you had mentioned a ladies' retreat? Yeah. That you had attended. And so just kind of pulling it all together about where I want to be is talking about why it's never too late to try new things.
Yeah, for sure.
If you wouldn't mind sharing with us what that retreat was for you and how it inspired you into your new passion.
For sure. Yeah. So basically, I definitely feel like, again, I have 4 kids. They're a little older now. So Jake is 23, Ty is 21, Ryan's 20. The boy, 20 and 21-year-old, are at UD at college. Jake is graduated. He actually lives in Charlotte now. So things should be slowing down, but they're not. And they're different. And then my daughter, Addie, just turned 16. She just got her license. So I got a little bit of freedom there. She's a sophomore at King's. So yeah, it's for years with all of them being in the house, being athletes, having all of their activities. It just was, so busy. And I, again, like you say, you love every second of it because I'm happier for my children when they earn something that I would be for myself. But I think it is common for especially moms to kind of lose yourself a little bit in the hustle and bustle. You're getting everything done. You're on everyone else's schedule. Every season of sport, my schedule changed to whatever their schedule was. And it's hard to find your own thing, and unless you really create boundaries. And I don't feel like I did a great job of that at the time, or I didn't have the time to do it until a few years ago. Like you mentioned, I was at a ladies retreat, and just in like icebreaker conversation in the beginning, they're like, okay, let's go. What do you like to do in your spare time? What are your hobbies? What would you do if you had all the time? Like my mind just went blank. I was like, I don't really have any spare time. And what would I even do if I had spare time? I don't know. And I was like, what do I like to do? I literally couldn't even think, what do I like to do? What do I like to do aside from relax because I'm so tired?
Right.
I was like, what do I like to do? But I was like,
get excited to go to bed.
Yeah. I like to watch mindless TV at night because I'm exhausted. I was like, but what fuels me? Why am I tired? I read this thing the other day that's like, sometimes we're not, you're tired because you're not doing enough of the things that like fuel your passion. And I was like, that really spoke to me. Like, what am I doing to feel my passion? That's me. That's my thing. And I was like, I love to read, and I never read. I never have time to read. I love to play tennis at the time, and I never played tennis. I hadn't played in years. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be really intentional now. My kids are getting a little older, a little more time. I'm going to be really intentional about trying to, create a boundary and a space for myself to do some things that I really want to do. And so my girlfriend and I took up tennis. We started playing together. We're like, all right, we got to play some other people. So we decided to go to like a couple of clubs, and we loved singles tennis. We were having a hard time finding places that did a lot of singles. They did a lot of doubles during the day. And my evenings were taken up by the kids. So I had to do it during the day on my days off from my other job. So it was like I couldn't find it. We were struggling. And I then just happenstance, somebody invited me to start playing pickleball in the neighborhood in the summer. So I started playing pickleball with this group. And, coming from a tennis background, I took it really quickly and easily. And I loved it. And so unlike my normal self, who's like, come with me to do this, they invited me to do this. You should come and join this in the winter, this pickleball thing in the winter. I'm like, okay. And I just did it by myself. I just went and signed up, showed up, just totally not like me. And
how were you feeling in that moment?
Yeah, it was an amazing moment. I was like, I'm really, and I felt empowered. I'm like, wow, I'm doing this. Like, I'm doing this for myself. And I started meeting people and, playing with new people and improving and getting better. And then, fast forward a year, somebody invites me to, you want to be my partner in this tournament that's coming up. I'm like, oh my God, a tournament? Wow. Okay, I'll do a tournament. So we did a tournament. It just went on from there. And so now I'm playing like pretty competitive pickleball. I'm not like the best pickleball player ever, but I do love to play pickleball. I love to play competitively. It's everything. It fuels my fire. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, we're going, I'm late to everything except for if I'm meeting someone for pickleball. I'm like 5 minutes and I'm like, hey. So,
yeah.
but
What is it about pickleball that gets you so excited
I
and
think
ready
I'm
for the day?
super competitive. I'm not competitive in life. Like I never have like FOMO or jealousy of other people. I am definitely a person who loves to like support people. And I'm super excited for people because I know like what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine. You know what I mean? So what's for me is for me. I'm never like competitive in life, but in sports, I'm really, really competitive. Like if anybody even sees me in the stands of one of my kids' games, I shudder to even think. But I, wasn't always an athlete. I played tennis in high school. So I didn't have like a ton of, growing up. And I went to a very small private school. We didn't have a ton of sports. So I didn't get to have like that awesome athletic experience, growing up. And I know that I'm good at this sport. You know what I mean? I know I'm good at it, and it feels good to be good at something. I'm not an artistic person. I don't have a lot of other God-given talents. I always say I'm like mediocre at everything, which is not, it's just a fine thing to do. I'm not terrible at anything. I'm mediocre at everything. But with pickleball, I know I'm pretty good, so I think that's one thing. And I just love playing. I love killing the ball. And so, I just love the competitiveness of it. And I love playing with people who are equally as competitive. And I think that's the drive for me. I think that's really it. Just getting that competitive outlet. And even though I'm, close to 50 years old, I'm turning 48 next month, I feel 25. I feel really like I'm in great shape. I feel that about myself. And I think that makes me feel confident, in myself, and just empowers me to feel like I could do anything. Like normally, even this podcast, this would make me really nervous, like, but it's like, once I started that, honestly, it sounds silly because it's pickleball, but it opened a door for me that's like, I can do all kinds of things. You know what I mean? It just like showed me that I can do things on my own and that I just don't need to be nervous about it and just go and do it. And, like I said, Mike comes from a place of yes. I'm not always the place of yes person. I am a little more
pragmatic. Is this the most practical thing to do?
Yeah. Why we make a good pair, because he really comes from a place of yes. Sometimes I have to rein him in.
He's the dreamer.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I think now, and that's probably something I've learned from him. Just what's the big deal? Just do it. Just do it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. So I think that's, now that I'm getting older, I just feel more comfortable in my own skin. And I think the pickleball, even as silly as it is, really opened that door. It really did. It was just like it was like a catalyst for me. And now I feel like really, like I said, confident in my own skin and like I can do anything new. I'm like, okay, I'll try it, So I think it took me a long time to get to that place. And that just helped me. And I think it's nice for my kids to see, like, hey, you can still do this, you can do anything you want to do, who cares? I never played pickleball before and it just was fun. And now I'm playing in tournaments and doing all this stuff. Like, who would have thought that? So I think it's nice to see that your kids, it's not like you're old at 50. You know what I mean? You can still do all the things. You can try new things and always, like, there's always more to learn. And I think that's another thing. I always used to think, well, I'm just not good at it. And I'm like, you know what? Someone's always not good at something until they are good at it. If especially sometimes you need some talent. Like, I'm never going to be a good artist, I'm sure. But, I walk into Menards sometimes and I'm like, I could be handy. You know what I mean? I'm not handy right now, but I could be. If I come in here more often and kind of do some, check that, I could fix things. Like it's just things that you're like, as you get older, I feel like I just want to do more things. I just want to step out of my comfort zone a little bit more now that I have more time and try to, do some of the things that I thought maybe I just wasn't good at, and try to, and just find more things that like fuel me. I don't want to be crying when Addie goes off to college. I will be crying, trust me, but I don't want to be sitting like, what am I going to do with my life? I want to be fulfilled and I want to find new hobbies and I want to play more pickleball. Luckily, pickleball, I play with people who are in their 70s and early 80s. So, hey, I'm planning to do that forever. But, I think that's just the thing. Once you find something and that fuels you, you realize like there's so much more out there. There's so many more things that I could try and do that probably would be proficient at that I just never thought of. And I think that's why one of the reasons that the pickleball, it really is important to me, because it really was a catalyst for me. And it just is my own thing. It's not anybody. It's not something my friends, do. It's not my kid, not with Mike. It's just my own thing. And it's nice to have something for myself.
It is. Everything that you said, Courtney, like all of it is so profound because, and I can relate to a lot of the things that you said. So for instance, I do yoga, and yoga came into my life probably 4 years ago at a time I really needed yoga. Again, there are no accidents. And I became just so passionate about it. And I've excelled at it. And similarly, I didn't grow up. I played soccer a bit as a kid, but I wasn't heavily involved in sports. I was overweight as a child and then started to kind of get out of that phase, kind of junior high, high school. But at that point, I'm like, Mom, what am I really good at? There's nothing I can do. That ship has sailed kind of thing. And so when yoga came into my life, it gave me that opportunity to express myself that way. And I always kind of worked out as a teenager and then into my 20s. But it wasn't until I found yoga that I really started to feel confident in the most fit that I've ever felt. And I'm 42. And so, and sometimes because life happens and kids and family and business and all of that can be stressful, and you have to have a lot of emotional endurance for all of those things, right? Sometimes the only place that I feel the most settled and the most confident is on my yoga mat. And so because I'm like, I know I'm good here. And it really kind of grounds me in that, and it makes me, it allows me to feel empowered, like you said. And when we try new things, it's scary. And that's when we have to learn to listen to that intuition and those downloads that are coming in and that curiosity that just keeps coming back. And we just have to make a move, like just make a move. And so then you start building that proof to yourself like you did, like, wow, I'm here by myself. I'm doing this on my own. And this feels really empowering. And I'm onto something here. And then one thing leads to the next. And it's almost like an energetic that's happening, this frequency that's happening in us and around us. And we're inviting something new into our lives. And we're calling something new into our lives, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. But yeah, and then it was really proof to you that you can do hard things. And so, and it sounds like it just really started to expand you in ways in your mind, in ways like, well, if I can do this, what else can I do? And that doesn't stop by a certain age, right? And it sounds like you put so much love, time, effort, energy, and you still do, of course, into your family. And that was a chapter. But I love this idea of you being on this retreat and something, obviously it was meant for you, this message around, okay, what can you call yours? What's for you? What's that hobby? What's the time and the time and the hobby and the things that you're doing to call your own? And you really stepping into that. And like you said, being really intentional about it, because that can be hard too in creating those boundaries, because I'm sure your family's like, wait, what? Whoa. Where are you going?
Yeah. Now they know, but it's because I've been playing for a couple of years, for 2.5 years now. But I do have created such a boundary around, my time and doing that everyone knows now. They're like, you're playing? Yeah. Yep. Problem? Okay. I didn't think so. Yeah. It's 100%. Just like, I am so unapologetic about it. And it's not like, I still do all the stuff and all the momming and all the things and the wafing, but it's what I want to do. Everybody has in my family does what they want to do. And, I'm always there driving over, taking over, cheering them on. And I'm like, no, I've done I've done all this for you. You know what I mean? Now it's my turn. And if that's what I want to do, then that's what I'm doing. It's my time now. And they know, they just know that that's what's happening.
And we've talked about this on the show before as well, around when we set boundaries, it's giving others permission to set boundaries for themselves as well.
Yes.
I want my closest friends, family, I want them to have boundaries. I want that for you. So, and to be able to model that, I think is really important.
Yeah. I mean, I think with all of these businesses and all of the things that we're doing, with Evo, and because I don't just train 2 classes, I do payroll and I do all the books. And I mean, it's, Mike and I run the whole business ourselves. So it's, we have a ton of things going on now with the restaurant. It'll be the same way. We have rental properties here in Maineville, like you touched on a little bit. Plus I work in another job outside, 2 days a week, doing accounting and charity work at a company I've worked at forever. So I think that's the thing. You know what I mean? I've got all these other things going on. I could work 24/7, between my jobs and taking care of the house, food, whatever. And I choose to carve out that time for myself. So I think, that's the thing with us as moms and wives. And, I'm sure men do the same, but this is for the ladies. We tend to just keep allowing ourselves sometimes to, I don't want to say in a negative way, but sometimes be dumped on, because our kids want something, they need something, and our spouses need things, work needs things, and you just keep, okay, and you try to manage all these things, and you really so easily get lost in the shuffle of who you are, what you want to do, and everybody's doing what they love around you, and you're like, you know what I mean? All of us, and you don't even realize it happens sometimes. Like all of a sudden you're like, I have nothing. And that was the moment at the retreat. I was like, what happened here? I have nothing. I have nothing. And I wasn't unhappy. Mm-hmm. It's not like I was in a depressed state. That was just my life. I was just so used to it. And it wasn't, I mean, I love sporting event. I love going to all the stuff for everybody else. And I love it. But when I really thought about it, I didn't have anything for myself. I let that happen, and it just happened naturally, slowly. And then I decided to make that change.
I think that's great. And to your point, I think we can just get on autopilot. And even in my coaching practice, I talk a lot about we're great task masters, but how are we moving through our days with purpose and intention? Let's come back to that.
Exactly. And I am an Enneagram 3. So I am a taskmaster. I am make a list the day before, check the box. I mean, I will put workout, lunch, check, because I love to check the box off. So I do love to do tasks. And I'm an administrative person. And Mike is not. So whenever he's got stuff for real estate or the Evo, it's like, can you? I'm like, okay. And I'm in here doing everything. So I just think, you get really bogged down on those things and you get stuck in the day-to-day and the different tasks. And, all of a sudden I'm almost 50 and I'm like, wait, hold on. What is going on? I really want to be more intentional about my day and how I'm spending my time. I don't mind to do tasks. I don't mind to spend, all day in the office, a couple of days a week, but definitely I want to, at least join some leagues in the evening, do something on the week, carve out some time for myself to hone in on something that I like to do and enjoy, and that I know I'm good at and I want to get better at. And it's for me, and I want something for myself. So I think that was, you're right. You get bogged down on these tasks, and all of a sudden, there you are.
And we have to nurture ourselves, right? I mean, you can't give from an empty cup, right? And there's so much truth to that. I mean, there really is. And when you don't do that, then potentially we start to resent or get frustrated, live in this sort of exhaustion and irritation. And I mean, I was once there. Or we're just so bored. I remember just stopping, I'm just so bored. I had so many things going on.
Yes, I agree.
Inside, I felt so bored.
Yeah.
And I heard someone once say, and I can't remember who said it, but I was like, it was an aha moment for me. And she was I can't remember her name. She was a PhD and psychotherapist, something. But it was, if you're bored, there's something inside of you that's lying dormant and you have to return to it.
Yeah.
It was of that essence, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. It was just in that moment. Yeah. And I'm like, something in me is lying dormant and I need to get back to it and I need to express myself the way I want to express. And and this is a lot of work that I do in my coaching business as well, is getting women back to their truth, getting them back to their authenticity and getting them back to asking themselves those questions, Courtney, around what are my deepest desires? Like, what are my values? And what can I call mine? And then start to cultivate how we can get her there. And it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Right? It doesn't. It's a journey, as they say. It truly is.
Well, it's a personal journey, and usually it's an adjustment for your family. Because they're not used to it. They're not used to you creating a boundary for yourself. And it takes a second to, adjust, like, oh, okay, she's not going to drop everything and do this for me right this second because she's going to do something for herself. Okay. So it took some time. But I think one thing that I really found once that happens, and everybody knows, like I said, I created the boundary, and then my family at first were like, and then they got used to it, is now they're super supportive. So like last night I had a really like tough league match, and we had a beating like the last season champions. Like, so I called them Mike and Addie on my way home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we just crushed them. I was excited. And they're like, yeah, like they're all excited. The kids are, then they see, like, if I'm like, oh, I'm doing a tournament, my boys in college be like, good luck, mom, so it's just like the tables have turned a little bit, and they're like very supportive. My friends the same. Like, I'll tell them like, oh my God, a great thing, we killed them. They're like, yeah. So they're proud, and they're excited. And so the people who love you the most, even though it might be adjustment for you're not spending as much time with your friends, or you're, making some boundaries with your family, once those boundaries are set and everybody's adjusted to it, you will find that they support you and love you. They want you to be happy, So I think that's the biggest thing. You're not taking away from them. You're just, changing the mindset a little bit, and you find how much they support that and respect it. They respect that's my thing, and they're proud of me. So that's nice.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. I think that's incredible. As we're moving forward, where do you see yourself maybe spending more time in the future? Is there anything else? Are you on the precipice of anything else? Anything exciting that you want to talk about and trying new things, or how you keep yourself challenged?
I don't need to keep myself challenged because my husband is a challenge.
Okay, fair enough.
My husband will keep me challenged.
Yeah,
he always has something for me to do, and he, for himself to do that takes me right along with him. So,
right.
Yeah, I think right now, we're so close to the restaurant opening. That's like all we can think about right now. I do think we have a few other ideas, just little sneak preview for Maineville, but we do have some other ideas of some things that might go on in downtown Maineville. So, we're always thinking ahead and be like, okay, let's get this open and we'll see how everything goes. But we do have some other things on the horizon for downtown Maineville. So I won't say more, but yeah, so we're always doing stuff like that. I think eventually our kids are like our two boys from Dayton are graduating soon. They love everything that's going on around here. They love the gym. They're so excited about the restaurant. They're both in business school, graduating with business degrees. I think eventually they may like to come, be part of the family business type of thing. So they're interested in real estate and they, all of the things that we do. So that's kind of fun. So eventually I see myself in a few years, maybe having maybe the boys could manage the gym and I'll be in Florida playing pickleball in the winter. We'll see. That's my pipe dream. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think right now, honestly, we're just so focused on getting our restaurant opened and making sure we have a successful soft openings and grand openings and bringing the community, what they want. That's one thing that's been really cool is, it's hard to change is hard for people. And there's a lot of people who lived in Maineville for a long time, grew up here. and honestly, for the most part, really, everybody's so supportive, like been very, very supportive of the things that we've done. I think the gym threw some people for a loop with the music and stuff at first, but they got used to it. And it's such a fun community. I think everybody's supportive of it now, but so excited about the restaurant. People, there used to be like the little village tavern, or I don't know, it wasn't a tavern, but it was like a little village restaurant that was in the building that your office is in. And
okay.
Yeah, there was a restaurant there when we first moved to Maineville. And I think they had a great breakfast. I heard my sons went there. I never ended up getting to go there. But then that closed. And then the restaurant that Crimmers has, they're going to be opening up, I think, hopefully by the end of the year. That was another restaurant, never was opened since I've lived here. And I've lived here, I think, 11 or 12 years now. So yeah, there was just that one restaurant really, and now we, need some food. So I think that's the nice thing. I think people have been very supportive and very excited and, excited about the changes that we've made. And we're really trying, like even with the properties that we own next to the gym, we really try to clean them up and update them and make the downtown look nice, not just, put businesses in here. We live here and we work here too. And we own other properties, not just those here. So we really have good intentions and we want the community to look nice and we want to get what the community wants here, So I think that's kind of our goal, we slowly do it. It's nothing that we're not a big corporation. We're just, family owned. And for those properties that we own, we have a business partner, but we do a lot of the work ourselves. And it's, slow, but it happens. And like the White House next door looks so nice now. We have the salon in there, and collected. We have the tattoo parlor. We have a really beautiful 2-bedroom apartment up that was gutted and looks amazing up on top. So that was really fun to see that transform. It was an unbelievable transformation. The house just next to that we own now, and we're working on that house and working to improve it. And so it's just one of those things. It's slow going because again, we do a lot of the stuff ourselves, but it's happening and the community seems to really appreciate it. And I love that. I'm so thankful that they're very supportive. So that's a nice thing for downtown Maineville. Maineville people are pretty awesome.
There's, I think, something else that I just feel so pulled to you all is you all are visionaries. And I think, and again, coming back to that feels so magnetic and it feels so hopeful. And you all really are bringing beauty back into the community. And for me personally, and even in my business, this is just another pillar of what I tell my ladies that I work with is, where are you spending a lot of time, and what are the spaces and places where you're spending a lot of time, and are those spaces and places inspiring you? And how is it sort of nurturing your soul? And so this pillar of beauty, I think, is just incredibly important, and you all are bringing that element into the community as well. So there's just wins all over the place.
It just comes so naturally, and I don't think I'm not the visionary at all by any means, but I think it just, again, I think what is inspiring about it is the way that the community appreciates it. That's what keeps like, oh, this is great. This is what we want to do. And it's not just people who don't live in the community doing, we live here. So, we raise our kids here. So we want to see it thrive, and we want to bring, we want to bring what the people want. And, through our gym, what's nice about, there's just so many different, with the different projects, there's just so many ways that it kind of fuels us. So with the gym, it's a whole different element. It's such a community feel. And like I said, we are personally, doing life with these people who are at our gym, and it just in more ways than just an hour fitness class. It's totally different. We have a lot of social events, but we also do a lot of fundraising. And that's always been a passion of mine. That's one thing I do at my other job. I run their charity foundation. So I've always volunteered and fundraised and did all kinds of things for the school when my kids were in school. And I just have a passion for, giving back to the community and fundraising and charity work and all of those kinds of things. And so that is one way that kind of the things that we're doing in the community really fuels me and feeds that passion for me. Like I said, this Murph event, it's like usually our biggest event of the year. We'll have a couple hundred people here. We'll have vendors on but we give all of the money to charity. So we're doing 2 charities this year, always the Yellow Ribbon Support Center and then Casting Freedom, both are charities that get back to the military because it's Memorial Day and that's, a big drive for us is to support our military. So those are ways. And I think I'm hoping at the restaurant will be kind of the same thing. I hope people will want to come and, use the space for fundraisers, and upstairs there's some beautiful spaces up there that people could do. We can do some really cool events at, private events for people or something. I would love to use both of those spaces, the gym and the restaurant, for good and for giving back to the community, and any other charities. So that's big for us too. I think that's just, and again, it just evolved naturally. It's just something like we started doing the Murph. Literally, I think this will be like our 12th year during the Murph, and we've only had 13 years. And we started off with like 8 people doing the Murph just for a fun workout. Wasn't a fundraiser back then. And every year it grew and grew and grew. And I think last year we had like 200 people doing it.
Wow.
It's been really cool. It's really cool. It's super cool.
Gosh.
I know, it's so fun. Is that
it's blowing my mind today? It's just so exciting. Well, and I want to go back to what you said, a couple things. I want to go back to what you said, Courtney, around things are happening slowly, but things are happening. It's slow, but it's happening. And I always like to remind myself, and someone told me this too, it's what's the hurry? Like we are doing our life's work. We're doing our life's work.
Yeah.
And so it's not linear. So I always come back to that because I think a lot of times we're just like, why isn't this happening right now? Like, come on, let's go. But I'm like, this isn't what I'm not here just doing this podcast. I'm not just coaching women. Like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And this is the impact in this service I want to bring and make in the world. And so that lights my heart up. And there is no, you have reached your destination experience ever. So, and you know what? I hope not. I think
that's what life is. I mean, it's just a journey. Eventually there will be a destination for all of us at some point or another. But we need to enjoy it and make the most of it while we're on the journey. And, we never know what doors can be open to us. And I think that's, the whole point is like trying new things and coming from a place of yes and trying, to just see what is in store for you and being open to it. I think that's really the most important thing is, not trying to control your life because you're never going to control your life. There's always going to be variables that are unforeseen and good and bad, and you just never know. Like you said, when one meeting with Mike and you were like, oh, this is it, this is it. Even driving there, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. And then you're like, wow, this is so cool. And now you're, now you're part of it. You're in the building and you're in the community. And it's, it's just one of those things. And you just, from saying yes, like, yeah, I'll meet with you. Just a simple meeting can really change your life sometimes.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And to be completely honest, I wanted to be part of your all's mission.
Oh, good.
Like, I felt it, Courtney, and I'm like, I have to be part of whatever they're doing here.
Oh, I love that. Well, come on in.
I know. So I'm just welcoming myself. I'm inviting myself.
We welcome you.
Because I was just so excited and inspired by all of it. And I'm like, this is not by accident. I just loved everything that you guys were doing. And then and the people in the community, to your point, are just so excited about it. And that's what it's all about. And, so back to your point also around the uncertainty of life. The old me 4 or 5 years ago would have been like, no, I need certainty. I need to know. But now I'm just, and it's a blend. I need a bit of a balance, but the uncertainty is sort of what keeps us curious and what keeps us excited and sort of learning more about ourselves and the world around us. But it's kind of, we can just like loosen the reins a little bit.
Yeah.
You never know what kind of magic is going to happen.
I think sometimes that taking a step back out of the busyness, taking a step back,
100%,
being like, reevaluating where you are and being like, okay, because we can so easily be stuck in the day to day that it's like, what is our vision? What do we want to do? Meeting new people and doing things and setting yourself up for new experiences. And I think that's really important, but it's hard to do sometimes, you're so busy, but when you really can step out and have an experience or meet some new people and try new things, it's like, oh, it's like the world is your oyster for the most part. And, I think one thing that, not to be negative, but one thing that really spoke to me even before the women's retreat, that all of a sudden I was like, I really need to reevaluate some things. As I had my friend from high school, roommate in college, and she ended up battling breast cancer twice and passed away. And she had little kids. Her daughter, her oldest was the same age as my youngest child, my daughter. And they were young at the time. It was during COVID. And I thought to myself, I will never take for granted another year that I am alive. Like, I will never, like, that's why I'm like, I am turning 48 next year. I don't ever try to act like I'm younger than I am or, anything like that, because I'm like, I am so thankful for every single year that I have, because not everybody is that fortunate. And I want to make the most of my life. And I think when you have someone close to you, like my dad has passed away now, and my girlfriend, and when you have that, like these moments as you get older, you're like, life is short. You don't realize it when you're young. It is short. And, you need to take the reins a little bit, and make some changes for yourself and do some things that inspire you, and that you're going to look back and be like, oh, I really enjoyed my life. Like now, I really do feel like sometimes, this is going to sound really weird, but sometimes because I use Instagram and Facebook like as more of like my own personal journal. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, you put everything out there. I was like, well, I like to look back on it. I like to, like, when my memories come up on Facebook from 10 years ago, I just sent one to Jake yesterday. I was like, oh, it's like a journal for me. And so sometimes I scroll through, this sounds weird, but in my Instagram page or my Facebook page, and I'm like, I'm so in love with my life. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I love my life. I love my life. And I'm like, I just am so thankful for it. And I feel like part of it is not at all like totally God's plan for me. He gave me all of the things. And a small part of it is myself. And I'm proud of myself for, kind of changing my thought pattern a few years ago and taking the reins a little bit and making the changes necessary so that I do feel like I love my life. You know what I mean? So that I'm not like, what's for me? What's my passion? And that's kind of, I felt like that for so long. What is my purpose? What's my passion? Is it to make good humans like my children? Is that my passion? Or am I meant to do something else? I would think about this all the time. And I feel like I still don't know the answer to that question necessarily, but I have made changes to be like, I am just happy every day. I do things for other people. I give back to the community. I try to raise nice people, and I have fun doing it, and I have fun with my hobbies, and I'm just really in love with my life, So I think, and I want that for other people. I look at people and I'm like, you should do, find something for yourself. Like it's a great feeling. I'm not saying I wake up every day feeling like that, but for the most part, even when I sit by myself for a few minutes, I'm like, wow, it's good. Life is good, So I think, I want that for everybody. And, I think that's one thing we try to create, an outlet for people here at the gym, especially just have a nice community so that people can, start to just have their own thing and be supportive and be in community with people. Because at the end of the day, that's one thing we definitely learned during COVID. It's people need people. You need a community of people, and you want to be with people who inspire you and encourage you and understand you and accept you, and you feel heard by and understood. And I think that's important. And that's something I think just, again, by happenstance, and it's not by Mike or I, it's by all the people here and all of our trainers and, our owners that, we had before. Now we own it on our own, but we've had different owners and they try to inspire the same thing. And I think it's just a community of people. And when you create something good, you create and find good people. And our community at Evo is it's amazing. We have the best people. And, and honestly, that's just the people around here. And we're just so lucky. But
right.
Yeah,
and it all just sort of works, right? It's like the synergy of it all. And whenever I'm having a hard day, it's like, okay, what can I do for someone? How can I give back? Whether it's just sending a nice text message or just doing something for someone else. Isn't it funny how it helps us get out of our own sort of grief or sorrow or frustration and coming back to this idea around, as you said, I want everyone to love their life. And really that's what it's all about, is banding together, encouraging one another, inspiring one another, as you said, and really just having an opportunity to lean on one another. And it's not always easy, but there are ways out of feeling stuck and feeling uninspired. And when you're in community, the last thing that you want to do when you're feeling stuck and uninspired is go and connect. I can attest to that. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to go anywhere. But when I do, and this is something I've learned about myself too, is I show up no matter what. I always show up for myself. So any kind of commitments, anything I said I'm going to do, I will show up for it. And even on the hardest of days, I continue to show up, and I always 100% always feel better after I did. And that's what you all are doing, is showing up for everybody around you, no matter what. And I love it. I love it so much. And so thank you. Thanks for all that you're doing.
Well, thank you. This has been awesome. This has been so nice to connect with you and talk with you. I really enjoyed it.
I'm so glad. I feel like there's other things I could ask you, but maybe we'll go for coffee or something. Yeah, and
it's fine. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I would love lunch.
Tea.
I'm a foodie. I need to eat.
Okay, let's do it. I love that. All right. So one other thing I did want to ask you, though, just to make sure that everybody is aware of what exciting events are coming up. I know that you mentioned the MRF. So that's happening May 27th on Memorial Day.
Yes.
And if you want to tell us a little bit more about that, where folks can register, and of course, we'll link everything into the show notes as well. But if you could brief us on that. And I was even curious where the idea for MRF was born.
Okay. So we didn't come up with the MRF. The MRF is, MRF is named after Michael Murphy. He was a Navy SEAL and total workout fanatic. And that was a workout that he did with a weighted vest. And he actually died in battle. I think there is a movie that actually is based on the mission that he lost his life. He actually sacrificed his own life, knowing he went up to the top of this mountain. They did not have cell service and they were going to all die. And he went up on top of the mountain to get the cell service, knowing he was going to be shot up there.
That movie.
Yes.
I think I did see that.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the movie, but it's true, a story. Anyway, so that's his workout. A lot of gyms do that all over the country. So it's really, and a lot of CrossFit gyms do it too. We've been doing it well before we were a CrossFit gym. Like I mentioned earlier, we started doing it, I think this will be our 12th MRF. So, and it's again evolved over time. It's just a workout before. Now we turned it into a fundraiser, maybe like 8, 9, 10 years ago, something like that. And every year it grows, but it'll be here at Evo. It's open to the public. Anybody can come and do it. The workout itself it's a brutal workout. It's not easy, but nobody cares what you do at the workout. Nobody's paying attention to you. This is the most like non-judgmental place in the world, although people don't realize it, but it totally is. You can come do whatever you want. You have to work out. I mean, I used to set a goal back in the day. I'm like, I'm going to do the mini Murph. I mean, I just called it that. And I would do like half the reps. Like, it doesn't matter. So, but the workout itself is a mile run. It's 100 pull-ups, 200, push-ups, and 300 squats, and then another mile run. So we run to Testerman Park, but it's fun. The police will be here, like block off the streets, and the fire department will be here. We do a beautiful national anthem at 8:00. We have an amazing singer who does the national anthem here. And then everybody goes off, and we have a lot of sponsors. I think there's going to be 3 heats this year, maybe a 4th, depending. But the first one is at 8. So if you're more competitive and you don't mind a really busy gym, it's going to be hopping in there. Then come in at the 8:00 heat. If you want a little lesser, less people and not so much activity going on, then just come in one of the later heats. But there'll be vendors on the lawn. We get some food donated, and excuse me, we'll have raffle baskets. We'll have a silent auction. You can just make a monetary donation to the charities if you want to. Yeah, we just raise money, but it's such a team bonding experience. We give a t-shirt. I think it's $25 to register. You get a t-shirt or a tank top option with your registration. We use Sign Up Genius to register, and you can just pay right on there and put your size of your shirt that you want. And then you'll just come register, do the Murph with us. And like I said, I mean, if you want to be really competitive, you can time yourself. Otherwise, just come do whatever. But it's really just more of a fun morning. It goes by really quick. We've had beautiful weather last few years, so I'm hoping for that again. And it's really, really, really fun. So join us. Anybody come.
Sounds great. Yeah. I mean, I was a little intimidated by the 100 pull-ups. I'm like, I don't even know if I can do one pull-up. But I'm like, hey, no. And
we have all kinds of modifications. We have the TRX rows. We've got big ones. You don't even have to do any pull-ups. You can just do sit-ups. I mean, you can do any kind of modification that you want. Most people cannot do 100 pull-ups, to be honest with you.
Maybe there are
definitely a lot at the gym who can, and there's a lot in the gym who cannot. So again, it's just more of a fun day. It's a fundraiser. It's, Memorial Day. And again, we're supporting the military. So, it's an important day to remember the people who lost their lives for us. And we really make sure we have that mindset in the beginning of the event. And we always have the Yellow Ribbon Support Center. It's a local charity. Keith Maupin started this charity several years ago. His son, Matthew Maupin, lost his life in battle in the military. And so he does this really beautiful charity. It's all volunteer. Nobody gets any salary or money or anything. They send care packages all over the country to our U.S. troops. So all of the items that they put into the care packages are donated by companies or whatever. And then all the money that they raise, well, now they do military scholarship funds for people who are children of fallen soldiers. And then the other money that they raise, they use for postage for these care packages. Other than that, there's no overhead that, everybody's volunteer. So it's really a nice charity. So Keith and his crew usually come and, talk for a minute. Then we do the national anthem and then we start it. And then new this year, we're supporting Casting Crown as well, another charity that supports the military. So I'm sure they will be here and then probably say a few words as well. Usually Bob Beebe, our Maineville mayor, is here. So he usually speaks as well. So it's fun. It's really fun to see everybody. We'll have usually Scott Hughes is here. He usually does the Murph. He's the chief of police. And then he will be in uniform usually and directing traffic and all kinds of things too. And Jason Jewett, the fire chief, and he'll usually be here too with his guys. So it's a really fun community event. It's not just a gym event. It's a Maineville community event. So even if you don't want to do the workout, come, support the raffle, come support the vendors. Anybody is welcome. Like I said, I'll just be on the front lawn. A lot of people, just parking issue, always parking around here. But a lot of people will park like on the side streets or down by Tesserin and then walk over. So, because our parking lot gets full pretty quickly. So,
yeah, an event that sounds just very anchored in the community. We'll put a link to that in the show notes for sure. So come on out, everybody, show some love and kick off your day.
Right? You might set up a little under.
Yeah, 100%. Yep, I will be there and bringing on the beautiful weather, as you said. So let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So just a few closing questions for you, Courtney. All right. What do you do that you think is really important as far as daily rituals that you would encourage others to do as well?
Well, I am a big self-care person. So daily rituals, what I really do is I set my focus on the next day. I don't think too far ahead because I probably should more, but I'm just so busy that I really focus the next day or within a couple of days. I make a list every day of what I'm going to get done that day because I am an Enneagram 3 and I do like to check the box. So, but I have to have a focus because I can easily be distracted. I actually had to tell my daughter, hey, she's at school, but she has her phone with her all the time. So I'm like, I'm going to be in this podcast for an hour and a half. So I need you just let you know. So I'm not going to answer you back because I'm easily distracted by all the kids and my daughter. So, but yeah, I set intentions for the day. Like I know what I'm going to be doing the next day, even if it's self-care, even if it's a massage, or even if it's, I just know I've been busy. I know the sun's coming out. I will put an hour in my day just to sit in the backyard and just, get relaxed. So I think that I just always have a sense of what I'm doing, like what I'm doing. They could change, but it's generally, I don't like it to change. I like to know what I'm doing. And I like to have an idea what's going to go on the next day and to be intentional. But otherwise, I feel like I'm just all over the place. And so I definitely do that. I set intentions for the next day, no matter what they are. Maybe it's just I've had a long week and I want to connect with some friends.
I love that.
That's the biggest thing for me. I need to have a clue of what direction my day is going to go. And I carve out time for what I need. Like if I know I just have to do nose to the grindstone and I've got to work all day and here at Evo or wherever, that's what I'm doing. But if it's been a week and I'm just like, hey, I have some time, I don't need to necessarily get this done, I'm going to connect with my friends because that's also super important to me.
So just that intentionality, I love that. Going back to what we were saying earlier. And I mean, I can relate so much. Everything is on my calendar, on the calendar on my computer, and everything from coffee dates with friends. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
So, and it allows me to kind of spread out my responsibilities and my commitments and like, okay, do I want to schedule it this week? Is this feeling good? Or do I want to push it out to next week? And so, yeah, I love that.
I mean, even when I was like in the thick of it with my kids every evening, it would be like, okay, I'm not going to work on the morning because I'm going to drive them to Warren County soccer field and I'm going to be there for 90 minutes. And there's nothing else around there that I can accomplish or get done. So I'm going to walk around, that's going to be my exercise for the day. I'm going to walk, or I have some work to do. So I'm going to sit in the car and I'm going to do this work. It's always like, I don't like to waste time. And I don't mean waste time like if I'm having lunch with my friends or if I'm sitting back here. To me, that's not wasted time. That's like my self-care. But I don't like to drop my kids off. No, I can't go anywhere or do anything because they're going to be picked up in another hour and just sit and have absolutely nothing to do. Like I either know, I need to call this person back, or I haven't talked to her in a while. We're going to talk tonight, or I'm going to do something productive. But I already know what's going to happen during that chunk of time. Otherwise, I'm like, I wasted time. I don't like to waste my life.
I totally understand. We have to maximize, especially when we're making a lot of impact and bringing service into the community. I mean, this is just part of it, isn't it? Is just making sure that we're intentional and we're scheduling accordingly and we're maximizing our time. And most importantly, giving time to ourselves and allowing for that to keep everything in harmony.
Yeah.
Such a big word for me. Keeping everything in harmony.
Yes.
What does it mean to you to live a consciously inspired life?
Well, I think it's kind of what we, just the whole theme of just being very unapologetic and very purposeful in your life and what you want out of your life and setting yourself up for that success. And sometimes it's not necessarily something you can do in the moment when you're on your kids' schedules or other things like that, but you can start to plant those seeds, like starting new friendships and investing in your friends or starting a new hobby and just kind of starting and planting seeds that eventually, when you have the time, can create the space that you really need and desire to have. And I think setting yourself up for that kind of success so that you love your life and to really set yourself up for that success, even in dark times, even in busy times, just trying to be like, what is going to make me happy? What is going to fulfill me and inspire me? And I need to start changing my life to go towards that things. And what are the steps I'm going to take to do that? And like we said, it's not overnight. These things take time. It takes time to make new friends and really connect with people. We need to be very intentional about doing those things for ourselves. And that's one thing that I've learned as I've matured and time has gone on.
And this is what's so important about getting clarity and having a vision. Coming back to when we were saying, gosh, what is my passion? What are my deepest desires? What are my values? Once we get more clarity on those things, then we can from there start to build more of a life vision and what that impact looks like for us and what that feels like, as opposed to it feeling so sort of tactical, and making sure that we're living in alignment to that vision. And then decisions that we make, things that we do, what we commit to, who we want to spend time with, what we're spending time doing becomes a lot more clear too. And the answers become a lot more clear. This is how we begin to trust ourselves more because we know what our vision is. We have clarity. We know what our values are, right? And it has to start there. And then we have to nurture that. We have to water that. We have to feed that. We have to give really tender time, attention, and connection to that. And that's not always the easiest thing to do.
It's not easy. And the other side of that is letting other things go that don't serve you anymore. I think that's one thing that people really struggle with. And I have struggled with that as well. And then realizing like, I don't know why I'm spending the time on this. It does nothing for me. I committed to XYZ and I've just done it for a couple of years and I liked it in the beginning and I've outgrown it. I don't like it anymore. And you realizing like, I can let that go. It's okay for me to step away from that. I'm not enjoying it, like really evaluating your life and the things that you spend your time on and even people that you spend your time with. Are they making you feel good about yourself? Are you feeling great when you leave them after having lunch or dinner or going out? Did they like, oh my gosh, it was so fun. I'm so glad I met up with Susie. You know what I mean? Like are they serving you? Because sometimes when we start to change and we start to have boundaries and we start to do things, sometimes people aren't supportive or sometimes they're not, you've outgrown those people. And not that you can't always be friends with them, but it might not be where you want to invest all of your time if the relationship doesn't serve you like you need it to. So I think that's where it is, because we get so busy on all these things. You have to make space and time in your life for your things. And sometimes that means giving up other things or people, and that has to happen.
You have to make space. You got to make space for new stuff to come in, right? That's going to serve you and people around you better. Yeah. Amazing. Beautiful. Courtney, this has been such a pleasure to meet you and to really be with you today. So thank you.
This was great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you inviting me on, and I really had a great chat with you, and let's grab lunch. I really want to.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, Courtney, and learn all of the things?
Well, I just have my personal Facebook, Courtney Stylski, and my Instagram at cstyles, CSTYLS. And then we have our gym, evofit, and you can check out the website at evofit.fit. And even our restaurant has its own Instagram page at MaineTowne. So check that out. And I don't think we have a website for that yet, but that'll be coming too. So those are all the things, I think. So
amazing. Yeah. And I have to say, I was on your Instagram, and it really is your life story. From Mike proposing to you. Right? I saw that photo. I was like, oh my gosh, wow. Yeah. And another photo of when you guys are really young. And so when you said that, I'm like, wow, it all just made complete sense to me. And there are so many photos of you and your friends and your family and activities and life events and all of it. And I love how you mentioned that you're using that to really chronicle your life. And so it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You bet. All right, everybody. Until next time, bye-bye. That's all for today. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. If you'd like to learn more about Consciously Inspired Minds, you can visit us at consciouslyinspiredminds.com. If these episodes have you wondering how you can design a life uniquely inspired by you, head on over to modelifestylecoaching.com. That's MODE lifestylecoaching.com and schedule a free call. I'd love to learn more about your deepest desires and how we can get you closer to your authentic life vision and impact. Until we connect again, explore what inspires you.